What you're about to hear is the true experience of Daniel Mercer, a paramedic from Cumbria, northwest England. It happened on the 14th of November, sometime after midnight, on a stretch of the B5289. That's a winding forest road that cuts through Whinlatter, where, honestly, the trees grow so close to the tarmac, they feel like walls closing in. What follows is his account, narrated as he shared it with us. My name is Daniel Mercer. I've been driving ambulances for 9 years. In that time, I've scraped people off motorways, I've held hands while people died, and I've talked a teenager through an overdose at 3 in the morning in a car park in Penrith. None of that stays with me the way this does, and I'll tell you why. Because what I'm about to describe isn't something I can explain away. I've tried. Stress, fatigue, too little sleep and too much bad coffee, the brain misfiring after a long shift. I've run through every rational explanation I have, but here's the thing that keeps bringing me back. You're not supposed to look at them. That's what Colin told me after. And I've thought about that every single day for the past 6 months, because nobody told me that before. Nobody tells you a lot of things, turns out. The call came in at 11:42 p.m. Category 1. Critical. Elderly male, cardiac event suspected, remote pickup near a farmhouse outside Whinlatter Forest Park. I noted the time specifically because, well, I always do. You write it on your glove with a marker so it's right there when you need it. 11:42. That number is honestly tattooed in my head now. The radio crackled when dispatch confirmed the address. Not an unusual thing. Signal out near the forest is patchy at best. But the operator's voice had this strange lag to it, like she was talking from somewhere further away than the control room in Carlisle. Like there was distance in it that wasn't geographical. I remember thinking she sounded tired. I didn't think anything else of it. The GPS glitched once as I turned off the main road. Recalculating, it said. Then it just showed me a blank grey screen for about 4 seconds before it came back. The road was wet, post-rain slick. My headlights picked up the mist sitting low between the trees, not thick enough to be dangerous, just enough to make everything past 30 meters dissolve into grey. I turned the radio down. When you're alone on a run like that, the quiet actually helps you concentrate. I should have left the radio on. Liam and Mrs. Henshaw climbed in the rear with Arthur. 3 people in the back. I shut the doors. Our Mercedes Sprinter, the older model, no partition between the cab and the rear cabin. When I drive, if I turn my head, I can see straight into the back. I noted that. I always note it because it means I have to be more careful about sudden movements, sudden stops. It changes how you drive. I pulled off the gravel and onto the forest road. 3 people in the back. That's what I had. The B5289 through Whinlatter at midnight is not a road that invites you to relax. No streetlights. The trees run right to the edge of the tarmac, and my headlights carved a tunnel through the mist that seemed to close up again behind me the moment I'd passed through it. I was watching the road, watching my speed, monitoring Arthur through the mirror every 45 seconds the way you're trained to. The radio was throwing out static intermittently, not constant, just occasional bursts. I told myself it was the trees. Then the jolt. Sudden, violent, like driving over something solid, a log, a rock, something substantial in the road. The kind of impact that snaps your jaw shut and throws everyone in the back forward. I hit the brakes instinctively and checked ahead. Nothing. Behind. Nothing in the mirrors. The road was clear. No debris, no animal. My heart was going fast. I took a breath, checked the rear mirror for the passengers. Liam and Mrs. Henshaw were still. Arthur still on the stretcher. And I turned my head. I don't know why I turned my head. mirror wasn't giving me enough. Some instinct. There was a man sitting at Arthur's feet. Thin. Very thin. Sitting upright, hands on his knees, like a passenger on a train. His skin was the same grey as Arthur's, that bloodless, surface-evacuated grey. His clothes were dark, looked damp, the fabric wrong somehow, the cut of it from a different decade. His eyes were open, bloodshot, fixed on me. He was staring directly at me. I looked away immediately, looked back at the road. My mind was already running through explanations. A family member I'd missed. Someone who'd been in the corner of the farmhouse sitting room. I'd been in there in poor light, moving fast, focused on the patient. Had I miscounted? Had I not checked the rear properly before I closed the doors? I glanced at Liam. Liam was sitting forward, elbows on knees, staring at the floor of the cab. Mrs. Henshaw was looking out the side window. Neither of them was reacting. If there was an extra person in the back of an ambulance, most people would say something. Most people would at minimum glance over. I told myself, shock, stress, tunnel vision. My brain was pattern matching in the dark and producing a figure because my nervous system was already running a little hot from the impact. I turned my head again. He was still there, same position, same stillness, staring at me, not blinking. The road climbs as you come out of the forest toward the higher ground. There's a stretch where the rock closes in on either side. Not quite a tunnel, but the effect is similar. The acoustics change. Sound stops traveling outward and starts bouncing back at you. The engine note deepens. As we entered that stretch, the ambulance started vibrating. Not the ordinary vibration of a road surface. This was something underneath. A frequency that came up through the chassis, through the seat, through the wheel. The lights flickered twice. The radio died completely. Not static, just silence. And in that silence, the vibration intensified until it felt less like a mechanical problem and more like the vehicle was trying to shed something. I was gripping the wheel hard enough to feel my pulse in my palms. I looked back. The man was closer. He'd been at Arthur's feet. Now he was at Arthur's knees. No transition. I hadn't seen movement. He was just further up the stretcher than he'd been. Closer to the cab, still staring, still not blinking, still with that absolute eerie stillness of a person who doesn't need to shift their weight, doesn't need to breathe audibly, doesn't need to look anywhere else. In my mirror, the rear mirror, nothing. 3 people. Arthur, Liam, Mrs. Henshaw. I turned my head. 4. I made myself look at Liam, actually look at him. His eyes were open, but they had this unfocused quality, like he was awake but not present, like a person who's been told to sit still and has gone somewhere else internally to manage it. Mrs. Henshaw was still looking out the window. The window showed nothing but black. The vibrating stopped the moment we cleared that rocky stretch. The radio clicked back on. Static, then signal. Normal. I exhaled. I hadn't realized I'd stopped doing that properly. Here's the part that I find hardest to talk about, because it's the part where I can feel myself starting to unravel in real time, and I don't particularly enjoy revisiting what that felt like. I stopped looking back. Decided I wouldn't. I kept my eyes on the road, on the mirror, on the road. I monitored Arthur's status through the rear mirror, confirmed Liam and Mrs. Henshaw were present and static, and I focused on the driving. Kendal was 20 minutes out. I could do 20 minutes, but the feeling of being watched doesn't care whether you're looking back. It sits between your shoulder blades. It makes the skin on the back of your neck go tight and cold, even when the heating is running. It makes you aware of the air behind you in a way that is deeply, primitively uncomfortable. I heard myself say, quietly, Liam. Is there someone else back there? Liam turned his head toward me, slowly, the way a person turns when they're very tired or very far away in their thoughts. And he looked in my direction, but his eyes didn't quite find me, like he was looking at the space I occupied rather than at me. He didn't answer. I checked the mirror. Then I turned. The figure was now level with Arthur's torso, sitting right beside him on the narrow strip of space alongside the stretcher. His face was inches from Arthur's, still looking at me over Arthur's shoulder, still that faint expression that might have been curiosity, might have been recognition. Then his head tilted, just slightly, the way a person tilts their head when they're listening to something or trying to understand something they've almost worked out. That small sideways tilt. I turned back to the road so fast I nearly clipped the verge. The lights of Kendal came up around the next long bend, the orange glow of a town through the mist, and I have never in 9 years of driving been so relieved to see sodium streetlights. I pressed harder on the accelerator. I was conscious of it, and I didn't care. The shaking had stopped. The radio was steady. The mist was thinning as we came down toward the valley. I checked the mirror. And I looked back one last time. He was at the head of the stretcher, standing, not sitting anymore, standing, in the space between the stretcher and the cab partition, looking directly at me from maybe 2 feet away, the closest he'd been. His eyes hadn't changed. His expression hadn't changed, but he was close enough that I could see the detail of his face, the slight part of his lips, and something around him that I'm going to struggle to describe accurately. The air near him was colder. I felt it from the cab, a drop in temperature that had no business being there with 3 bodies and the heating running. I pulled into the emergency entrance at Westmorland General so fast I left marks on the approach. Cut the engine, sat there for exactly 1 second. Got out, ran to the rear, opened the doors. 3 people. Arthur, Liam, Mrs. Henshaw. Arthur was gone. No rhythm, no chest movement. The monitor was flatline. He'd gone somewhere between the last forest road bend and the hospital entrance, in those final minutes, in the dark, while I was pressing the accelerator and not looking back. Mrs. Henshaw looked at me. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "You looked," she said. "I found Colin Reeves in the staff room. He's been on the service 20 years, seen everything, the kind of person you go to when something's happened that you can't put in a report. I told him all of it. I wasn't trying to make sense of it. I just needed to say it to someone who wouldn't immediately ring occupational health." He listened without interrupting, which wasn't like him. When I finished, there was a silence that lasted long enough to be uncomfortable. Then he said, "You saw him." I asked him who. He told me that you never look at them. If you don't look, if you pretend you haven't noticed, they don't move. They stay put. They wait. But the moment you make eye contact, the moment you acknowledge them, it becomes something else. A transaction, an interaction, and they move toward what they came for. I asked him why the figure had been staring at me. He said, "Because you challenged him. By looking back, you put yourself in it." And then he said, in the same flat, matter-of-fact tone, "Next time something like that happens, you call me in. You say you need a second crew member. I'll come." I said, "Next time?" He looked at his coffee. He didn't answer. I went back to the ambulance alone after, sat in the front cab in the dark, engine off, interior light off. I needed a minute before I could face driving back to the station. I don't know how long I sat there. It might have been 5 minutes, it might have been 20. At some point I reached up and adjusted the rear-view mirror. I don't know why I did it. Muscle memory, the automatic habit of 9 years. And when the angle shifted, I caught the rear cabin in it. I sat very still. The back of my neck went cold. I can't tell you with certainty what I saw or didn't see. My brain was not in a state to be trusted. I know that. I have always known that about that moment. But I sat there without moving for a long time before I could make myself start the engine and pull out. I don't drive alone anymore. Not on the night shifts, not on the rural runs. I've made peace with the fact that my colleagues think I've gone a bit soft. It doesn't matter. But sometimes, when the road gets quiet and the trees come in close and the radio starts breaking up for no good reason, I feel it again. That drop in temperature, that tightening at the back of my neck, that sense of something sitting just behind me. And every single time, I keep my eyes on the road. I do not look back. Arthur Henshaw was cremated 10 days after that night. The death certificate lists cardiac failure. Time of death recorded as 12:31 a.m., somewhere on a forest road between Whinlatter and Kendal, in the back of an ambulance, in the dark. Liam Crowther never returned Daniel's follow-up call. The number he'd logged on the patient intake form was disconnected. Mrs. Henshaw passed away 11 days after her husband. The hospital notes say she went quietly in her sleep. Natural causes. Grief, most likely. The kind that doesn't give the body much reason to keep going. Daniel still drives. Days only now. He transferred his request in writing and never explained why. We'll be back again next week, same day, at 3 a.m. Sleep well, and if you're ever in the back of an ambulance on a quiet road, late at night, lights low, the engine humming, and you notice the air go cold near your feet for no good reason, don't look up. Whatever is sitting across from you has been there the whole time, and the only thing keeping it still might be the fact that you haven't noticed yet.